students, welcome to Chem 3 tutorial. In this video, let's see Class 6 Science Chapter 11, Nature's Treasures Part 3. In Part 2, we have studied up to forest. Okay, in Part 3, we are going to study soil, rocks and minerals. Bhumi, Surya and Aji come back home from the forest. Okay, all of them come back from the forest. Bhumi and Surya help Aji in preparing the soil in the garden for planting some vegetables. Okay, they have planned to plant some vegetables in the garden. So, they are preparing the garden. Aji asked them to dig the soil gently and loosen the lumps. Okay, Aji is the grandmother. Asked them to dig the soil gently and loosen the lumps. Lumps means a piece of something solid, that is called lumps. You have already learnt in the chapter Living Creatures, exploring their characteristics that are plants to grow. The space between the soil particles not only provides sufficient air but also space for the roots to grow easily. Okay, what about the soil? Okay, what about the soil? Help the plants to grow. Okay, the soil particles not only provide sufficient air but also it provides space for the roots to grow easily. Bhumi and Surya could see the small pebbles, the roots of plants and few earthworms too in the soil. Okay, they see some small pebbles and the roots of plants and few earthworms in the soil. Do you realize the earthworms are natural agents that help in turning and loosening the soil? Okay, how does the earthworm help in loosening the soil? Okay, the earthworms loosening the soil by burrowing. Okay, through that pathway, they mix organic matter with the minerals. Earthworms eat decaying organic matters like leaves and grass, mixing it with the soil as they burrow, which improves the soil fertility. Okay, that's why the earthworms are loosening the soil. It helps the soil fertility. While Bhumi and Surya help Aji, let us do our own experiment by performing activity 11.4. Activity 11.4, let us investigate. Collect samples of soils from different areas around your home and school. Okay, activity is given. Collect samples of soils from the different areas around your home and school. For example, like garden, the school playground and roadside. Okay, you collect some samples. Guess what be there in the different soils. Observe carefully each soil samples and note its color. Touch each soil sample and feel its texture. Observe the soil samples with your naked eye. If you have a magnifying glass, look at the soil through it. Record your observation in table 11.2. Here or table 11.2 is given soil samples. First four tabular columns are here. The first tabular column, location from which soil sample was collected. Okay, already we know that is a school playground, school garden and a roadside. Next, what I guess about the soil. For example, for school playground, I have collected soil from school playground. What about the soil? That is sandy and loose. Observation of soil, naked eye including the color and texture. What about the color? That is a light brown color. What about the texture? That is dry. Observation of soil with a magnifying glass. That is a sharp edges of sand particle. Second one, school garden. I have collected a soil from school garden. Okay, what I guessed about the soil? That is loomy. Observation of the soil, dark brown. The color is dark brown and the texture is moisture. And then through magnifying glass, I observed that fine sand particles with organic matter. Next, third one, a roadside. And then what I guessed about the soil, clay and sticky. And the color is reddish brown and the texture is sticky. Okay, and then what I observed through that magnifying glass, very fine particles sticking together. Next, is there any difference between your guess and what you can actually observe what you look closely? Do you see any differences in the soil samples taken from the different places? Do you see differences in what you are able to observe with your naked eye and what you can observe with your magnifying glass? Okay, there are many things. Okay, the answers are given below. There are many things in the soil such as sand, insects and worms. Okay, already we know that the soil contains that is sand, insects and worms. There may be many small organisms that we cannot see with our naked eye. That is microorganism we cannot see with our naked eye. Plants and animals also became a part of the soil as they decompose and decay. The soil sample collected from different places may be of different colors because they may contain different materials. Already in the tabular column we have mentioned all of this. Have you ever wondered how soil is formed? Okay, how soil is formed? Okay, how the soil is formed. Answer is when the rocks break down into tiny pieces due to wind, water and temperature changes, and dead plants and animals mix with these tiny rock pieces, making the soil rich and good for plants to grow. This process takes thousands of years. Okay, that's why the soil is formed. Soil is formed by the disintegration, that is breaking part of rocks by by the action of sun, water and living organisms over a long time, that is thousands of years. There are different types of soils. Some are good for growing certain types of plants, while some are good for making bricks for buildings. Forests may have a variety of soil. Soil is a precious treasure that supports biodiversity. So soil is formed. How the soil is formed? That is, soil is formed by breakdown of rocks, that is into smaller pieces, and minerals by wind, water and climate. And this process is very slow and takes place over the very slow process takes place over time. Forests have a variety of soil. Soil is a precious treasure that supports biodiversity. Next, you may have seen rocks in your surroundings. Already you have seen some rocks. Okay, through the mountains we have seen in the mountains we have seen rocks. Okay, you may have seen rocks in your surroundings. Rocks are used in the construction of houses, buildings, temples, roads, dams, and in temples we have seen the rocks. Okay, rock temples are there. Okay, rocks are used in the construction of houses. Okay, buildings, temples, roads, dams, and tabletops. Some rocks like slate. Okay, slate means they come from mainly from clay. It's a type of clay. Are used for roofing. Okay, and that laterite can be used as a building materials like bricks. Laterite means it's a kind of brick. Some of the important rocks are granite, sandstone, and marble. Okay, we are also using that granite and marble for flooring. No, so human beings have been using rocks to make tools such as hand axes and arrowheads since thousands of years. The pictures are given. Rocks used for roofing, and then laterite rocks used as bricks. Next, hand axes. Next, arrowheads made from stone, and mining of marbles are given. So a rock is any naturally occurring hard solid mass. Okay, what are rocks made up of? One question is here. What are rocks made up of? A rock is any naturally occurring hard solid mass. They are made up of minerals. Important metals such as aluminium, gold, copper and iron are extracted from minerals. Minerals are used in manufacturing of airplanes, cars, jewelry, cosmetics and electrical and electronic equipment. For example, the basic mobile phones that we can contain about a dozen minerals like gold, silver, copper, cobalt. So naturally occurring gold is given, and some minerals found in nature already is given. Rocks play a vital role in our lives. It takes thousands of millions of years to form rocks. Therefore, it is important to conserve and use them responsibly. Okay, so we want to, do you know how rocks and minerals are transported from one location to another? Okay, already we know that through vehicles. Okay, we know that through vehicles it can be transported from one location to another. Most vehicles that we use for transportation or use fossil fuels. Okay, for vehicles it need fuels. Okay, fuels are very important for vehicles. No, so most vehicles that we use for transportation use fossil fuels. Let us explore more about fossil fuels. Okay, next one is 11.6, fossil fuels. Okay, what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are a natural substance formed from the buried remains of organisms. Buried means dead and decayed plants and animals that can be used as a source of energy. That is called fossil fuels. Example, coal, petroleum, natural gas are fossil fuels. And these fossil fuels are formed from the dead remains of living organisms. Millions of years. It takes millions of years to form fossil fuels. Next, Surya says, why do different types of vehicles go from different filling stations? The reason is that they use different types of fuels. For example, petrol, diesel. We know that petrol, diesel. Nowadays, they are using CNG also. Okay, compressed natural gas also they are using as a fuel. Let us explore more about it performing activity 11.5. Activity 11.5, let us conduct a survey. Conduct a survey of vehicles in your neighborhood. Which type of vehicles are there? What types of fuels do they use? Record the observation that they collect in table 11.3. Table 11.3, types of vehicles and fuels used. First, in the first column, type of vehicles. In second column, type of fuels used. Already we know that car, we are using petrol as well as diesel. Lorry, bus, we are also using petrol, diesel. Lorry or bus, we are only using diesel. Next one is auto rickshaw, LPG, petrol, diesel. Next is scooter, petrol. Next, that is electric scooter using electricity. What are the most common types of fuels used? Already we know that petrol and diesel are the most commonly widely used fuels for vehicles. Petrol, diesel and kerosene are obtained from petroleum products. So from petroleum we are getting petrol, diesel and kerosene. Petroleum along with the natural gas and coal are commonly called fossil fuels. Okay, natural gas, that is a mixture of gases rich in hydrocarbons. carbon, that is called natural gas. Petroleum along with the natural gas and coal are commonly called fossil fuels. They are formed essentially from the remains of microorganisms and plants that got buried deep inside the earth and been covered into petroleum, natural gas and coal. It takes millions of years for these fuel to form. Okay, how the fossil fuels are formed? They are formed essentially from the remains of microorganisms and plants that got buried deep inside the earth and were converted to petroleum, natural gas and coal. It takes not only in 1 or 2 years, it takes millions of years for these fuels to form. So natural gas is also used for cooking and generating electricity. Already we know that natural gas is a mixture of gas rich in hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon means is a mixture of hydrogen, carbon and oxygen. So natural gas is used for cooking and generating electricity. Nowadays it is also used in the form of compressed natural gas, that is CNG. It is also used as a fuel for vehicles. It is a cleaner fuel and petroleum or diesel. Coal is mainly used as for the production of electricity. What is coal? Coal is a type of black mineral that is dug from the ground. It is found in several parts of India. Find out the major coal producing states and mark them in a map of India. Okay, we want to find out the places where the coal producing state in Tamil Nadu, especially in Tamil Nadu, Neyveli. Okay, they are getting electricity from, that is coal. Earlier, coal, wood and dung gangs were used for the fuel for cooking. Nowadays, less polluting natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas have gradually replaced these domestic fuels. Instead of using, that is, cow cakes and wood and coal, nowadays they are using LPG. LPG means liquefied petroleum gas have generally replaced these domestic fuels. Fossil fuels are found in limited quantities, hence we will soon run out of fossil fuels. So we continue to use them in a manner that we currently do. We can consume these fossil fuels. Okay, don't waste these fossil fuels. To avoid such a situation, we need to explore alternative sources of energy. So because of this, nowadays these fossil fuels are reducing. No, so for this we want to find out the alternative method also. To avoid such a situation, we need to explore alternative sources of energy. When fossil fuels are burned, smoke and carbon dioxide gas is produced, which pollutes the air. Over dependence on fossil fuels for transportation and as domestic fuels have resulted in large scale air pollution. So let us do a bit to conserve the fossil fuels by walking or cycling or nearby places, using public transport. Suggest some more ways. Okay, what are the some more ways? And then drive electric vehicles, ride sharing services like share autos. Okay, in this way we can consume fossil fuels. Next, natural resources, renewable and non-renewable. Okay, natural resources. There are two types of natural resources. One is renewable and the next one is non-renewable. Renewable means what? A resource that can be used repeatedly. That is called renewable. For example, solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectric energy. These are some renewable resources. What are non-renewable resources? That is natural resources that cannot be replaced after they are used. That is called non-renewable resources. Nature's rushes fulfill our needs. They are essential resources to sustain all life forms on the earth. For example, we get heat and light from the sun. Already we know that we get heat and light from the sun. Water from rivers and food from plants and animals. These resources which we get from nature are called natural resources. Before that, what are natural resources? Natural resources means the resources which we can get from the nature are called natural resources. We also use natural resources to make many useful things for our convenience. For example, electric bulb, furniture, solar panels, bicycle make our lives comfortable. All such resources created by human beings are called human, that is a man-made resources. You have learned about various natural resources such as air, water, energy from the sun, forest, soil, rocks, minerals and fossil fuels. Some of these natural resources get replenished through natural process over a period of time. If you remember, Aji told Bhumi and Surya that they could collect only those nelikai that had fallen on the ground. This makes sure that they will be able to enough fruits for other animals and birds. The seeds from the dropping of animals and birds would enable new trees to grow. Through they, it would take some years before we get fruit from these new trees. These resources renewed, replenished or restored within a reasonable period of time is called renewable resources. Air, water and forest are some of the examples of renewable resources. Okay, we can get back easily. That is called renewable resources. We can get back easily. That is called renewable resources. Example, air, water and forest. renews them. We should use our natural resources judiciously. Okay, we can consume these natural resources. Nature has given the wonderful resources, so we can use judiciously. On the other hand, fossil fuels take millions of years to form. Okay, already we have studied about fossil fuels. It takes millions of years to form. They are found in limited quantities, and once used, we cannot get back. Okay, they get exhausted. They are not produced or replenished within the reasonable period of time. These resources are called non-renewable resources. Okay, once it cannot be replaced. Okay, once used, it cannot be replaced. So these resources are called non-renewable resources. Example of non-renewable resources. Okay, natural resources are minerals, soil, rocks, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Next, resources we use. It's time for Bhumi and Surya to go back home after a wonderful holiday at their Aji's home. Okay, they spend most of the time with Aji's home. Okay, their Ammu, that is their Amma, mother, come to pick them up. Okay, they reached their place, and then their Amma, mother, comes to pick them up. Bhumi and Surya show the vegetable plants that have started to grow in the garden. They learn how to grow vegetables in the garden. Okay, so Bhumi and Surya show her the vegetable plants that have started to grow in the garden and dried chilies given by Aji to take home. They notice changes in the color in the skyline and smell of the air once they reach the city. There were very few trees. The air does not smell as good as at Aji's place. They can smell smoke from the vehicles. The air is polluted. Amma says, yes, we use fossil fuels in our vehicles. Smoke is generated. Now, these are the vehicles which cause less pollution. For example, they are electric vehicles. Nowadays, we are seeing in our roads also, we are seeing some electric vehicles. Like in autos also, we are seeing autos, cars. They are using electric, that green board, the green board shows electric vehicle. Okay, so for example, they are electric vehicles that do not release many smoke. So people are making an effort to create alternatives. Can you list some alternatives for reducing air pollution? That is, use carpool, and then use fuel efficient car, and then avoid burning garbage. This one is very important. We should not burn garbage that will cause us air pollution. We use many natural resources in our everyday life. Let us identify some resources that we use by performing activity 11.6. Let us make a list of natural resources used. Make a list of activities do you do in your daily life and write down the natural resources that were used directly or indirectly for each activity. Table 11.4, some items are already filled in. Using them as guide, fill the remaining blank rows. Okay, in table 11.4, natural resources used, activity and natural resources. First one is washing clothes. Okay, natural resources, water. Making clay toys, that is clay, mineral or soil. Collecting firewood, trees. We can write trees. Next, making kite, paper from bamboo trees. Next, having breakfast, food, that is plant food from plants and animals. How many natural resources did you list? Compare your list with that with your friend. You and your friends have listed many natural resources that we use every day. These resources are air, water, soil, and food from plants and animals. We get these resources from nature and also things used for them our consumption. So, therefore, we must conserve our natural resources and use them responsibly without wasting them. So, we are using our natural resources, but we should not waste them. This way, we can continue to fulfill our present needs while also saving for the future. We can also save the natural resources for the future generation also. So this way we can continue to fulfill our present needs while also saving for the future without harming the environment. Mahatma Gandhi quote is given, earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need but not for every man's greed. That means earth has sufficient resources to meet everyone's basic needs but not enough to fulfill everyone's desire. That's all, the lesson gets over. If you want more videos, like, share and subscribe Chem Free Tutorial. Thank you.